In our culture, in our creation stories, we have a character by the name of Ksa. Ksa is known for his wisdom. The parents of Ksa are Wakia, the thunder being, and Ia, the stone or the mountain. Some people use that for a rock. See, in the beginning of the universe, there were these components, and one is called Ia, and that which is around Ia is called Ha. Okay? So, Ia is represented by four elements. And these elements combine in various combinations, and the universe is created. But everything that surrounds these components, this is Ha. Now, can you figure out what that is? So this is how it was in the beginning. Okay, so from there comes the universe. Okay, from this process, the universe is created. And other sacred entities are created from this too, like Wakia, the thunder being, among others. Now, when this process was completed, this creation process, when it's completed, the only thing that was left of Ia was a rock. So that's why people call Ia a rock or stone or a mountain. They also say mountain. It's Ia. Ia is androgynous. That means Ia is neither male or female. Ia is. That's all they say. Now, on the other hand, the partner of Ia is Wakia, the thunder being. And the thunder being is both gender. Yeah, Kia is both male and female at the same time. That's like a hermaphrodite. So from these two people, Ia and Wakia, comes Ksa. Ksa is the son of these two people. He's male. Because the body of Wakia is constantly in motion, half the body of Ksa is also in motion, and the other half of his body stays normal. So it looks funny because half of his body is always moving. As for example, his eye might kind of move around. In the half of the body that moves, his eye might go way up to the top of his head. It might go down to his feet, or you see what I mean? And one arm is always stretching and getting short, and that leg on that side, the same thing. It stretches and it gets short, it gets stretches, it gets short. So because of this, he looks funny. And he walks funny. But nevertheless, this person was very, very wise. And at this time, there's an organization forming called Wakantanka. There's several people in there. A giant bear and Tatanka, the leader of the Pte Oyate. This is before buffalo, because Tatanka does not mean buffalo. Remember that. Pte Chaka is buffalo. But at the time of these stories, there are no humans and there are no buffalo either. Not yet. That comes much later. Anyway, Ksa was known for his wisdom. He was very wise. And this Wakantanka organization, this is a sacred organization. And they would have meetings on the earth. There's only one continent in those days. And when they have their meetings, Ksa would come too because he's their counselor. He gives them advice because he's very wise. Yeah, Ksa is very, very wise. So he gives advice to the Wakantanka, whatever they need help in. The problem, though, is when he came to the meetings, he walks funny because half of his body's always moving, like I just mentioned. And so some of these Wakantanka people, they're young. Because remember, at this time, the earth is young. It's just created. So sometimes they're a little bit immature. So they would laugh at him. And after a while, he got tired of it. And he wanted to play a trick on the Wakantanka. He wanted to fool them because he wanted to get revenge, to play a trick on the Wakantanka. However, the leader of the Wakantanka, his name is Sicangu, and Sicangu is the blue you see in the sky. In other words, it's the ozone, the ozone layer. This is Sicangu. Sicangu is not fooled, okay? The others they get tricked, but Sicangu, he's not tricked by this. But he's the leader. So he starts to question Xa about why did he trick all these people? Why did you do this, he says. And Xa, he's trying to escape the power of Sicangu. He's trying to escape the presence and power of Sicangu, the leader of the Wakantanka. So what he does is Xa tries to go into the earth. He tries to dig himself into the earth. And so Sicangu, the leader, he says, that's what you're going to be from now on. Because you tried to trick the Wakantanka, now you're the trickster. He said, now your name is Iktomi. I'm telling you the really short version of the story, okay? Because normally this story is really long. And in the years past on this show, I told the longer version, but I think some people got confused because it is a long story. It's a Lord of the Rings kind of story. There's 3 adventures happening at the same time, 3 incidents that are happening at the same time. In the end of the story, they all connect. And it takes a long time to tell that. So I'm just focusing on one aspect. Okay, so this is the really short version because I don't want to confuse anybody. And this is the part that's really the most important anyway. The part where Xa, the guy known for wisdom, that half his body's always moving, and people laugh at him in the beginning, but then they apologize. They apologize and say, "Hey, I'm sorry," because they know him, that he's very wise, and they need his advice. But one day, Xa gets tired of the laughing, and he tries to play a trick on the Wakantanka, but it backfires. And his punishment is that now he's no longer the counselor, and now he's no longer known for wisdom, but now he's known as the trickster. Now, does that mean he's good or bad? What do you think? Does that mean that he was a good guy and now he's a bad guy? Is that what it means? No, it does not mean that. In the ancient way, there is no good versus evil. There is healthy and unhealthy, and you can learn from both. And anytime you learn, that's healthy. That's good. Okay? So, no, just because Xa fell from grace, so to speak, just because Xa tried to trick the Wakantanka, that does not make him bad. Okay? But it changes his purpose. Okay? Because he's no longer known for wisdom. Now he's known for tricking people. Trickery. Deception. And his name was changed to Iktomi, which means the spider. In these stories work on several different levels. And most people only can register or pick up on the basic level, which is good. Because on the basic level of these stories, it's teaching you how not to do something. That is important. It's important to learn how to do things, but it's also important to learn how not to do things. That's where Iktomi comes in that second part. So that's the basic level. Okay? Now, when you go deeper in the story, some people have the ability to understand deeper meanings. It doesn't make them better, okay? It just means they have that ability, and that's okay. But it does not mean they are better, okay? It just means they can understand more, or they can comprehend more. So those who can comprehend more, when they look at the Iktomi stories, they look at the thought under the story. And there you see duality. And so then this teaches you how to work with duality to transform it into something that works for the good of the people. You see, these Iktomi stories work on different levels. But no matter what, you learn something. And you're going to laugh because some of them are really funny. So this is how Iktomi came to be. Now, because of this, it has to do with the spider. This is what Iktomi is associated with, and that's why the word Iktomi means spider. So because of that, the Iktomi stories are only supposed to be told when in Lakota country the spiders go under the ground for the winter. Then is the time to tell these stories. But when it starts to get warm, then you stop telling the stories. Because when the earth gets warmer, as spring approaches, they come back to the surface again. So to show respect to the spider nation, you don't tell the stories from spring until the next winter. You don't say the stories. Okay? That's a very, very old rule of the Iktomi stories. Today, because of this Christian brainwashing boarding school experience, because of that, most Lakota people don't know this rule, and they end up telling these stories all year round. And that breaking of that protocol could be causing difficulty on the reservation. Do you see what I mean? It's interesting, yeah? So for this reason, Iktomi stories were only told when the ground freezes. Now you know a little background information about Iktomi and how he became Iktomi. That he was not always a trickster. That in the beginning he was known for his wisdom, and his name was Ksa. In the Lakota language, the word for wisdom is woksape. You hear the Ksa is in the middle of that word. Woksape. The word Ksa is in the middle. See, that was his name in the beginning. But like I said, because he tried to trick the Wakantaka and it backfired, then he lost his calling or his job as counselor to the Wakantaka, and now he's Iktomi. But this does not, again, I want to say this, I really want to stress this. Because we do not have a good versus evil concept in our ancient way, Iktomi is not a bad man. Okay? Now, I really need to say this because I read these comments by these young Lakota racists when they're talking about Donald Trump and the sheriff of Morton County, where this protest against this Dakota Access Pipeline is happening, or the North Dakota Governor Dalrymple. You hear a lot of these young Lakota racists calling these men Iktomis. And that's really, really wrong. Because, number one, Iktomi is not a bad man. Okay? And number two, we do not have a good versus evil concept in our culture. Number three, when you speak Lakota, you're supposed to speak it in a way where you show respect to the person that you're talking to. Even if you disagree with him, you still show respect because we all have that right. We all deserve it, even if we disagree with each other. We have responsibilities to ourselves and our families, our communities, our nation, our earth. We have all these responsibilities. And because of that reason, we deserve respect from everybody except for those who commit the unpardonable. And that's rapists, child molesters, people who endanger the camp. Now, there's some women that take part in this too, that when women kill their own children, they don't deserve respect either. So rapists, child molesters, murderers, mothers who kill their own children, even grandmothers who kill their own grandchildren, they don't deserve respect because what they've done is a total out and out violation of nature and the Wakan, the sacred. And so there's no coming back from that. So that's why those kind of people were taken out in the country and they were killed immediately. Because if you allow them to live, they might go to another camp and bring danger to them. And you can't allow that to happen. So you see, in ancient Lakota world, we had capital punishment. But other than those crimes, you respect everybody, even your enemy, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. You might need the help of your enemy, or your enemy might need your help. And it is our obligation to ourselves and to our earth to help those who need our help, regardless of what language they speak or what color their skin is. This is why we respect people. Respect does not mean you agree. Respect does not mean honor. Yeah? Respect does not mean trust either. Most people don't understand what respect really means. Most people think, oh, I'm older than you and I was raised by my grandparents, so that means I know a whole bunch, so you have to respect me. No, that's not respect. That's oppression. But that is not respect. That is not respect. That's bullshit. That's not respect. That's being an asshole. So you have a lot of young Lakota people that don't know these things, and they speak in a gang mentality. And the gang mentality is not the warrior way, because the gang mentality is really the alpha wolf perspective. And that's an unhealthy perspective. That's what divides a nation. The alpha wolf perspective divides a nation. So those kind of people don't know what respect means. In our way, we respect our enemy too, no matter what. No matter what. So now, Iktomi, like I said, is not a bad man. So when these young Lakota people called these white people, like Donald Trump, this Governor Dalrymple, when they called them Iktomis, this is really disrespectful to Iktomi, because Iktomi is not a bad man. Okay? He's a trickster. He's a con artist. But he's not bad, because he's teaching you. As long as he's teaching you, he's not bad. It's just that he's teaching you how not to do something. And the way he does it is what you're not supposed to do, he does that. And in so doing, you learn the outcome and you see that it's dangerous and it doesn't work and it could destroy a whole community. But the stories are funny of how this process happens. So it's teaching you how not to do something. And anytime you learn, that's good for you. Even if it's learning how not to do something. And that, like I said, that's where Iktomi really comes into play here. So when you look on Facebook and you see these Lakota people, there's one Lakota lady that I know that she's probably about 15 years older than me. And she will call Donald Trump Iktomi Trump. And that's really disrespectful to Iktomi. Because he's not Donald Trump. Gee. But he's known for tricking, yeah? So when Iktomi comes to you as a man, sometimes he's really good looking, yeah? He transforms himself. So he can really appear as a good looking guy. And he's going to be like a yes man, yeah? Where he will say, "Wow, that's really cool what you said, man. I can learn from you." He's going to say. He's going to really butter you up. He's going to really make you feel confident, but it's a false confidence, okay? And when you are so overconfident, you don't see what's going on in front of you. And that's when he tricks you. And then you end up in a horrible situation. Sometimes you die. But it's not because of Iktomi, it's because of you. You were irresponsible to yourself. And so you became overconfident. So you did yourself in. It wasn't Iktomi that did it. You did it. He didn't put a gun to your head and say, "Okay, do this." He didn't do that. He didn't force you to do anything. You were the one who made the choice willingly. He tricked you, but you're the one who made the choice. Okay? So that shows you Iktomi, even though he's a trickster, he does not represent evil. Okay? But like I said, because of the Christian brainwashing that happened on the reservation, most Lakota people regard Iktomi as evil, like a Lakota Satan or something. When really we don't even have that. So this is some information on Iktomi. The stories always start, one day Iktomi was just walking around, and then it goes into an adventure. Yeah. Shit, some of them are just goofier now. And I want to tell you something. There's trickster stories on almost every tribe in North America. Before European contact, there were probably 800 languages, at least 800 languages in North America. But in all these people, all these different nations, there was a trickster story. Isn't that interesting? 800 languages, and the one thing they have the same is the trickster stories. And some of these trickster stories, they have songs. And it's really interesting. And tribes who are enemies with each other for thousands of years, they have the same trickster stories that have the exact same melody in the Iktomi songs. It's just the different words because they speak a different language. But the melody is the same. The storyline, the plot is the same. Isn't that interesting? It shows you how Iktomi united all Indians. Isn't that funny? It shows you that no Indian tribe is better than the other. Do you see what I mean? It shows you that we all have this same capacity, the same capability, the same potential to live a healthy life. It's a really interesting concept, the Iktomi stories. And sometimes he did funny things by accident. He unknowingly did something. He tried to do something and it failed in a really funny way, but it created something very beautiful for the people. He tried to do something really mischievous. He tried to create a deception, and something went wrong. He ended up hurting himself, but the result was a beautiful thing for the people. One of them is the hand games. And tribes all over North America have the same game. This is coming from Iktomi. And his companion, the coyote. When these two are together, oh man, the stories get goofy. Eh? There's just two rugged guys in it. Oh man. they're just I don't know, chlete, you say in Lakota. They really think they're something, but they're kind of dim-witted. But then at the same time, they're kind of smart too. Do you see what I mean? That, that's what makes their stories just funny. They'll say, "Oh, I have this really cool idea. What? What is it? I think we should, if we do this and this and this," and the other one will say, "Oh yeah, and that. Gee." Then they do it, and it just totally backfires, and then they blame each other, and then they walk away. Yeah. They walk away from each other. Next day they meet again. Hi, how are you? "Oh, I'm doing good. What about you?" "Yeah, me too." They act like they didn't see each other in a long time. See, these Iktomi stories get really, really silly like that. And what's really cool about these stories is they can apply to what's going on in today's world. You can see that, the similarities. That's what I like about these stories. To read more about Lakota Star Knowledge spirituality, you can read my book called Wichocha Otechike. You can see the book cover on the right side of this screen. This book contains the information to what I talk about on my Lakota spirituality videos. To purchase this book, please click below where it says Show More. Clicking on that link will open up the description below, and there you will see a link called To Purchase My Books. As you will see, it's an eBay link. Click on that eBay link, and there you will see the information to get this book. Lila Pilamayelo. Thank you very much.